Hey everyone, I'm Kristen with Wild Birds Unlimited of Barrie and Newmarket, and I'd like to introduce you to a relatively new bird seed. You're probably already familiar with some of the more traditional bird seeds, black oil sunflower seed, peanuts, and Niger, but have you ever heard of NutraSaff? It's really exciting when a new birdseed product hits the market because it doesn't happen that often. And this is NutraSaff, also called Golden Safflower. And it's basically a better version of this traditional safflower. So what I'd like to do is walk you through why you would feed safflower to begin with, and then some of the perks of offering golden safflower over traditional safflower seed. So safflower seed is really popular and it's fed in a number of ways. It can be fed as a straight seed all on its own. It can be fed as a part of a bird seed blend or even as a cylinder. So there's lots of options there. And people traditionally feed safflower when they are problem solving. It's a great problem solver for a couple different reasons. First of all, it's a very, very bitter seed. So not all the birds like it. And you might be thinking, that doesn't sound like a good thing, but actually it is, because the birds that don't like it are some of the birds you probably get frustrated with at your bird feeders, like common grackles or European starlings. And the birds that do like it are some really, really popular visitors. So a lot of people feed safflower with the hopes of attracting northern cardinals because this is one of their absolute favorite foods. They love safflower. So they can attract cardinals while keeping grackles and some of the other nuisance birds away. Other birds that like it include chickadees, house finches and purple finches, and doves, as well as rose-breasted grosbeaks. All of those birds go crazy for this seed. Now, the other awesome reason that you might want to offer this as a problem solver is it tends to keep squirrels away as well. They also don't like the bitter taste. So we found anecdotally that safflower is about 80% effective at keeping squirrels and blackbirds out of bird feeders. You're gonna get that other 20% that do enjoy the taste or have adapted to eat the taste of that bitter seed, but overall, squirrels and blackbirds leave it alone for the most part, which is great. Now, chipmunks, I will say, do enjoy safflower, so just keep that in mind. You will have to keep some kind of a baffle on your safflower feeder to keep those chipmunks out. But overall, this is a great problem-solving seed, and it's an oil seed, so it's got lots of fat and protein for the birds. Now, anecdotally, I know I mentioned a few birds that really like it in our area, but anecdotally, I will tell you that I keep this out year-round, and I get a lot more activity than just those birds at my safflower. I think some of my other birds have gotten used to it, and so I get a lot of action on my safflower from the nuthatches as well as woodpeckers, believe it or not. And I know I'm not the only one because we've talked to a lot of our customers that find the same. But there certainly are birds that don't come to safflower, including those blackbirds, of course, but also American goldfinches. This is not going to be a seed you're going to be offering to attract those guys. Okay, so now I've told you when you would want to feed safflower. So how about golden safflower and what makes it so special? Well, traditional safflower seed is grown as an oil. So it's an oil seed. Just like sunflower seeds and peanuts, it's produced to make an oil that's sold around the world for cooking and other processes. Now, it's not too often that we get a bird seed, or a seed rather, that is specific for bird feeding, but that's what NutraSaff is, because most other bird seeds are grown with a specific purpose for human consumption. So it could be oil or maybe making candy, etc. But it's grown with humans in mind, and birds are kind of an afterthought. We get the seconds for bird food that aren't quite up to snuff with human consumption. So NutraSaff is pretty unique because it was designed and developed specifically for wild bird feeding. And it's been very successful because birds prefer NutraSaff to traditional safflower about 2 to 1. So they really, really like this seed, and I'm going to tell you why. There's a few reasons why they prefer it. First, it has a very, very thin shell. The shell is actually 40% thinner than traditional safflower, and that's a big deal to a lot of birds because they have to expend energy breaking open those shells, and the shells can be really, really tough on safflower. They're pretty hard, and not all birds are going to have the beak or ability to do that, to break it open. So the fact that this is 40% thinner means that birds are going to expend less energy. It's going to be easier for them to open it and to eat it. And maybe it's even going to be more accessible to birds who can't open safflower seed very easily. So that's really exciting. That means you're going to get a greater variety of birds coming. Second, the other really important reason is that this seed is 15% higher in oil than traditional safflower seed. And this is really why the birds go crazy, because that high oil content means that it has 25% more protein and 30% more fat than traditional safflower. And that is what the birds are looking for. They want high protein, high fat seeds. And so this makes eating safflower way more appealing. So NutraSaff, much more valuable in terms of calories for the birds. So better nutrition for your birds, giving them more energy, and it's easier to open. It's kind of like a win-win-win. And then you pile on to that it still has that bitter taste that the blackbirds and the squirrels don't like. And my goodness, this is like an amazing seed to be feeding in your backyard. The birds are going to go crazy for it, and you're still going to get that critter protection, which is awesome. It's also non-GMO, and for the most part, it is organically packed and it's an organic seed. So, I mean, those are two wonderful additions to the fabulousness of NutraSaff. So you're gonna probably get more birds than you would with traditional safflower. You're gonna be able to keep away some of the critters. You're gonna give your birds more energy and more calories. So all of those are wonderful. So they're more nutritious, and you can feed it in a variety of forms, and the birds love it. So are there any downsides to this seed? Well, to be honest with you, because it has a higher caloric value for the birds, there's more energy, more of that oil. It might be more appealing to the blackbirds or squirrels. They might be willing to forego the taste, that bitter taste, to get the reward of the additional oil and that higher fat, higher protein calorie that comes with this seed. So that's a possibility. What I would suggest that you do, our recommendation would be to try NutraSaff in your yard, whether you put out safflower before or not. Try it in your yard, try it as a straight seed on its own, and see what happens with your birds. I found in my yard, the birds just went crazy for it. I had a great success. It went down really fast, even in some cases faster than my sunflower seed. I was pretty surprised to see that, because that's a really popular seed. It was really successful, and I know that year to year, golden safflower sales just keep going up because people love this stuff, because the birds love it. So it's got a really good rating among bird feeding enthusiasts for sure, because we're seeing that awesome increase in bird activity at safflower feeders. So this is an awesome seed to offer for that reason. But it could be more attractive to some of the critters. So play around with it, try it on its own, and then once you figure out if it's a success on its own, if it's going to stop your squirrels all by itself, great. If not, you can always offer it in a squirrel-proof bird feeder, or in a bird feeder with a pole system and a baffle to keep the critters out. So I just love it. I think you should offer a little bit of it in your yard, whether it's in a blend or on its own, because it has so much more value for the birds. So I hope you try Golden Safflower. It also comes in cylinder form, so you can get it mixed in. Some of our blends have it. You can feed it on its own, or you can offer it as a cylinder. So lots of different options. I think your birds are going to love it. Mine certainly do. And I'd love to hear how the Golden Safflower goes over in your yard. That's all for now. Thank you for joining me, and we'll see you again next time.